Your work is your own. Hello everyone. Today, I would like to talk about how all opposition is self-created, and how there are times where you might think that you're your worst enemy, but what is the way out? And so that is what I want to talk about. Before even looking for a solution, we simply want to see how real this existential problem is for us. Is all opposition really self-created? What kind of self could imply such a meaning? Man is ready for many things, but now he must also be ready to move beyond man. You must see that your readiness will no longer be a moment where you think you're ready. It'll be a moment where you are the action. So you will see that there's no delay. There's that transition time from your readiness to action is instant. Your readiness just turns into action. And so the greatest practice comes from the one that is the most observant of what is being done. And so we are right now practicing human living. But how well are we really living? When we look around our world, man has lived in it. He has survived in it. This is where he has come to today. And every moment of his existence, it was man's mind who chose in an evolutionary way to expand his problems by expanding his consciousness as a being. So you see, the way you're acknowledging your being has many layers. The way you're understanding things can be very vague to you at some times, but that vagueness will suddenly be part of a profound elementary vision. You will see that your life will call to you not to something external, but to an internal calling. It's as if you're hearing there's some part of you that knows that you need to go do something right now, but you can't find it, you don't know. And so we might feel we are stuck in our own maze. The pilots of consciousness of tomorrow will see that in their own greatest acknowledgement of self, they shall be the allowance of newer realities. So you will see that man is not here to take man to just like Mars. Internally, when you look at the internal sense of reality or subtler planes of man's awareness, you recognize that the structure that man has put on the cosmos is internally, it cannot work because it is working differently. That is simply it. The minute existence chooses to call itself different, to call itself non-existent, is the moment that the origination of the first cell has moved beyond itself, beyond this one cell and its capability. Your mind has an ability to look at the environments that you have been through and to, in a sense, keep all these environments in a sense of your awareness to memory. So when you're like, this is what I remember, you are in a present moment of existence being aware of certain imagery. Now the way those imagery has been studied or searched has been really, the bar has been set too low. In other words, not that science is not mighty, but in certain contexts, it has not granted itself passage. And so if one person does not decide to cross the bridge of fear, another man will. And another moment of existence will. Because man is still acknowledging himself as a physicality, and you think that you have a soul, but you don't know if you're a thinker or not. So when you look at that confusion, the only solution is for the candle to melt, to see that the light of one reality is in actuality present through the light of a greater one. And so man has the concept of greatness, man has the concept of honor, man has the concept of loyalty, and man can look at his own eyes in a way where a remembrance will open omniscience. The omniscience that many seek is, in a sense, how you're acknowledging certain moments of your existence to mean nothing. And as you observe a sense of emptiness in all those words you made up and thought they were words, you know, and let's say if two L's also walked into these words, into these worlds, but we must never lose sight of who we are and who we are to be. Remembrance is not just limited to how we are experiencing space and time on this plane. You might think that your memory, or what you very just, I guess, in a very blunt manner, simply say, is your brain. You acknowledge your intelligence like, this is my brain. You use that form of individuation. Then your consciousness or your mind is not even given the beginning permission to begin seeing something beyond. You see, because the moment has a sense of novelty, we don't know where our knowing is. And so the mystics who have climbed mountains of thought to sit at the peak have recognized that it was never about climbing the mountain, because the journey meant that internally you had granted yourself passage from one space and time of the cosmos to another sense of space and time of the cosmos. We are not useless when we recognize that we are creating our use. You are the one who is providing, for example, the food to even wake up in the day. You also have to be the one to provide the greatest ideas that make you jump off your chair and just be like, I cannot stand still. I have to go see what's happening. That's when you begin engaging with a sense of purposeful life, because you are beginning to see the sense of purpose that was just an individual thing for you turning into a collective purpose. You see that once you know how to do something, you want to do it for all mankind. And so humanity prospers in his compassionate understanding that the collective could never fear the individual. And if you feel you are alone, those feelings are precious, because they are here to show you what you are holding, what realities you are keeping here, simply because your exploration has been limited to just the beginning word of an infinite book. Man must develop beyond his own intelligence by recognizing that his intelligence is beyond. It always was. And there are times when human beings have different ranges and sensitivities of reality. For example, a mystic is one who is existentially allowing himself through his direct experience to know what is real. But other people, for example, certain scholars or whoever, the opposite polarity, for example, let's say someone who's very rational, they come from a different way of acknowledging, and they are saying, actually no, I am not putting random value in me, I'm just seeing the value is here, and from the most simplistic extraction, then I am saying who I am. You recognize you dream, and there are times, if you're anyone who has experienced a dream, that you recognize that there was some realness to the dream, because that is how it was memorable, because the unreal is not kept in our imagery. So how is it that with a certain different brain chemistry through a different period of through a certain period of the day, the dawn of the sunrise also is the dawn of man's subtler experience? In other words, you have a dream that shows you more than the dream. Because the dream is chaotically irrelevant, but you are being based on creating relevance. So there are not a lot of people who are just comfortable with existential silence. What that means is the mystic understands that after some point, his voice can dissolve into every sound. And he can be silent for eternity in that cave to know that he is all that is omnipresent. You will see these subtleties in how you are a being who is allowing yourself more ability, and you are also creating that ability. But the thing is, sometimes you are always a creator in the present moment, and sometimes you're just constantly creating a sense of you that is not real you. Even sometimes some other people who are really aware of existence will see that you're not being you. Because they know the nature of man, the existential nature of man, we've been steered away from a little bit. And what that means is that at some point we got tired of, the steering wheel, and we're just like, okay, someone else drive, and then suddenly we woke up and we've gone the wrong direction, We just have to get back on the steering wheel and to, in a sense, drive back to our sense of core, which unleashes any leash that once you see yourself to have never been trapped, you will really see the meaning of words through non-meaning. In other words, there's one method of comparison where we compare, for example, certain ideas, certain meanings or concepts with other concepts. We compare imagery to other imagery to then create a meaning which is very colorful for us. However, that is one way where the mind of man has approached itself. Another way that the mind of man can approach itself is through nothing. So there's one method through other things, comparing to other things, and then to comparing to nothing. And to comparing to nothing is actually a bit of a wild step, because it means you're getting rid of your comfort zone, because the explorer has just found his map and he just remembers why he even has the imagery in front of him. You will see that it's not that you're judging the present moment or you're not in the present moment, which a lot of teachers have said. It's that the way you're interpreting the present moment is limiting the present moment or the experience that you're having directly as you're alive now. So when you see that imagery can be compared to nothing, you don't touch imagery. You get the peacefulness of the, Zen master's teacup. You're just silent. You're just there. You're just drinking tea. You're just having direct experience. Ideas come to you, but they also continue their walk. And so who remains there is not of antiquity and is not of a future that is speaking to its past, but it is of an initiation, a co-creation from different angles of life, where all beings of form recognize different ways that they can initiate into formless presence. And that formless presence becomes the inspiration. So man is at the effect phase of looking at how the world and reality is being shaped. But you look at the cause and you become the inspiration for form. Imagine being that existential state of being where all form is created through you. You are the moment of conception, because the blueprint was in no one else's hand but yours. For once you see all opposition is self-created, there was never anything against you. You will see yourself being pushed by winds of knowledge, winds of knowing, winds of trust. Human beings you don't know will look into your eyes and you will see yourself. And not really see yourself image-wise, but see that they have the same trust as you do within you. And that is when man sprouts out of the dirtiest soils that he feels he's trapped in. A pilot of consciousness recognizes that his acknowledgement of individuality innately suggests his collective observance. Once you see that your collective observance is present, There is no fear, there is no purpose, no plan or anything, but a mere knowing that this is where you need to be, and so you smile because the playfulness of chaos has just glanced at you in your ordered life. And the management of an ordered life is very fun, just so you know. In other words, you can totally go and build yourself and merge and engage external reality. And you can totally go into certain states of being, only for a limited time because we all die, but but you see that your state of being takes you beyond your calculations, which have led to firm assumptions which are not really moving you because you're not moving yourself. Know thyself, as very compassionate men have said. Because once you know thyself, you are also allowing yourself to remember an existential sensitivity to intelligence that, in a sense, you are required to utilize when you are aware of it. How can you not use, for example, a spoon when it's the only spoon and you want to, you know, let's say eat hot soup or something? We look at life, and we must always know that as an individual looks above, the whole sky looks back. When you exist and you look at existence, do not think you're separated. For existential companions have even been together to points where more of collective consciousness could be expressed through individual, I would like to say actually individual new programs. I feel like I should say this. So let's take it like this. We have computers that update themselves, you know. I mean, we update them in a sense. And so there's a sense of self-maintenance present to our liking. So human being, his interest, self-maintenance. I want to maintain myself. I want to live a good life. I want to do whatever. I want to be healthy. But we must also understand that self-maintenance is not just the quality of form. In that you recognize that you have not just been one person that you think in the past or within a certain segmented sense of time conception. You are an existential movement that is very, very beautifully found in many forms that you have observed. So what that means is that when you get the knowing of your moment of being, you're not bothered by the transition of shape. You are not bothered by the movement of information, which in a sense is pushing the anchors of your axioms, or in a sense, taking them away. Be playful in how you are performing in form here. Play along with the realities that teach you more than the teachings that you have received so far. Do not think you have gotten the best advice. Because the best advice is always the newest advice, and it has a new awareness. We require, at this point, for human beings to recognize their capability and ability and to begin communicating. You need to get involved in all those people who you thought were bothering you or doing the stuff. That's life telling you You have nowhere to run because I'm telling you to get involved. Begin accepting your challenges and begin moving. Begin advancing. Do not think your day is empty, but know that you have a peaceful sense of being that is collectively present regardless of the movement of the individuality. So now, through that view, look in through your individual eyes and see that what is my opportunity to in a sense change this life. I wake up every morning and I'm like, I can move that cup, and that movement of the cup, the distances, those simple mere bits of movement can be as huge as the movements of mankind when the right intention is put. So many people think that your purpose is only the things that, so for example, you look at, let's say, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Buddha, all these great and very compassionate beings, let's say. You looked at them and you would see that they did not want to fight. No, when you look at when you find the beautiful and the peaceful atmosphere of the stability of your own mind in its own observance of clarity and emptiness, you will see that people who meditate are not people who want to change external form. They're comfortable with all the passage of form. However, there are moments that life tells you, no, you're not just here to sit in a cave, you're not just here to think that your greatest spiritual understandings come from ancient traditions. You are present in a new world. You are a being who is aware of your presence. Do not limit yourself with the concept or the word spirit, and in a sense know yourself through that which is present with you in the moment. So look around you and see that who is walking beside you is every conception that you have ever had. And so all pilots experience turbulence, but once they land, they will also experience the beauty of a transcendent destination. Man is very hilariously kept outside of his greater understanding, very ridiculously, and it is not anything that others are doing. So do not think that it is the government or it is someone outside of you that is limiting your view. That may be so in certain conditions, but it is not anyone, because you forgot to look. It's not that they're hiding it from you. You forgot to look. Look in an existential mirror and tell me if life needs to be named. Much blessings and namaste. Safe flights.